top of my head.
Yeah, go ahead.
Since Jesus made a statement in Luke chapter 6, I believe, he said he seen Satan fall like lightning from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
So basically Satan knew who Jesus was.
Yeah.
So why did he tempt him? If I know you, God, why am I going to tempt you? To try to make you fold? You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, let's go to Revelations 12.
Mm-hmm. Why would Satan tempt Jesus? You know what I mean? I'm just trying to.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
I'm just getting things started. Revelation chapter 12.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. And pick it up at verse, because you had a couple of questions in that. The question was, why? Well, you ended with why would he tempt them? Why would he tempt them? But we're gonna read this Revelations 12. Pick it up at verse 7. 12 and 7.
And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels.
So you got angels battling right here. This is what's going on. Now, as far as events is concerned, this happened. This happened in the beginning, even before mankind. This would happen because we already know that we're gonna read one spot here that go to put a marker right there. Mm-hmm. Let's go to Isaiah.
Is it chapter 11?
Yeah, give me 1 second.
Lucifer, why thou fallen?
Mm-hmm.
That's Isaiah chapter 12.
Mm-hmm. I'm right here now. That's not 12.
It's not?
No.
14.
14, yes.
There you go.
Okay. So let's go pick it up at 12. It's 12, it's 14 and 12, so that's why you had it mixed up. But go ahead and read that.
How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
Okay, so he fell from heaven. Mm-hmm. Which what? Go ahead.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations?
Which what when we go back to Revelation, we're gonna read into that and see what actually happened, because you read the first verse of 12 and 7 saying there was war in heaven.
Yep.
So now we're seeing he fell down. He said, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down, which did weaken the nation? We're going to go back to Revelations. You're going to see what he means by weaken the nation. But go ahead.
For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will also sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north.
See, that's his whole motive. That's his mindset. But go ahead. What else?
I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High.
So that's his mindset. That's his mindset. That's what he wants to be. He want to be like the Most High. But obviously we seeing he got kicked down. He said, I will ascend the Most High, verse 14 and 14, he said, I would ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will be like the Most High. Mm-hmm. But verse 15 said, what's going to happen to him?
Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
Yeah, because that's what hellfire was made for. It was made for the devil and his angels. But go ahead.
They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake the kingdoms?
Yeah, that shake. He said, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shaking the kingdom? Because hey, he's headed for the lake of fire. Now go back to Revelation. Now let's go back to Revelation 12 and let's finish reading that. Go ahead, pick it up at verse 8.
and prevail not.
Which we know that, right? Because he got kicked down, right? But we also get some insight on that. We seen who kicked him down. Go ahead.
Neither was their place found anymore in heaven.
See, he wanted, but that was his whole thing. He said what? 14, he said, Isaiah 14, he wanted to be like the Most High. But hey, Michael kicked him down and said, hey, you ain't doing that. So he said, hey, there's no place found for him, right? Go ahead.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
See, so now you see, he was cast out to the whole earth. And guess what? His angel was cast out with him. So they got kicked out of heaven. And this is the part where Isaiah said, this is him, because he's talking about the lake of fire, which was made for the devil and his angels. So now we're here where you're going to actually see, what happened. It was war, what was going on. You've seen that, and then we can read the Luke. But go ahead, finish that.
And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation.
See, this is what's happening at the end. Finish that.
Now is come salvation and strength.
Because it wasn't salvation and strength, right? No. But now it's coming, right?
Yeah.
And what?
And the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night.
See, so now you see a bunch of, he's down, he's still operating like, hey, he's the accuser, he's here to trip you up. And if you just read back at 9, I'm going to read it myself. He said, and that great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan, which did what? Deceived the whole world. And that's why when you read in Isaiah, they tie together here, Isaiah 14, because it says, hey, he said, is this him who weakened the nations? That's what it said, right? Who weakened the nation. How did he weaken? By deceiving them, right? So he wants to be most like the Most High. That's his mindset. And by him doing that, the scriptures also say he was a coveted cherubim. But we read that in Isaiah, that's what he wanted. He wanted to be like that, and he walked up in the mountains of God. He was there. So that's his mindset. And he's always been like that. He wanted to be like God. So that's why he continued to do the things that he do. But it's already a foregone conclusion for him. And that's pretty much the end of that. Was that clear enough for you?
Very much clear. And I already know I'm just getting...
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
You got one on YouTube.
He wanted to try to
Go ahead, got YouTube. Okay, what we got?
Yeah. Please explain Deuteronomy 24 and 6.
Okay,
Deuteronomy chapter 24, verse 6.
Okay, let's go back and read it. Yeah, that's a question. Yeah, that's a question. He got that off YouTube.
You know Jesus God, but it's like you got to try to make him go against the grain, make him sin. It said like he came and tempted him after 40 days of fasting. It's like you already.
No, we're gonna read on. We'll read on, see what he come up to. We'll read on down and see what he's coming up to. But go ahead and read that one verse.
Where we at?
Deuteronomy 24. And then we'll read up.
What verse?
Verse 6.
No man shall take the nether or the upper millstone to pledge, for he taketh a man's life to pledge.
Okay, let me, because I'm not even sure exactly. But let me read on. Yeah. I ain't never said I knew everything. Yeah. Well, I mean, let's read into it and see if we can come up with something. Yeah, that's what he said. Right, he said, talk about a lot in there. I'm a definitely take this because it's about there. They're dealing with divorce in there. But let me take this down though. Oh, yeah. I'm not even totally sure, but I'm going to look into this, though.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, because it is talking about your husband and your wife and then taking who?
Nether in a pledge. He say it's better for you to have a millstone tied around your neck than mess with one of these kids.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to have to get back on
I'm
that.
pretty sure that's not
Exodus
the same thing, though. Yeah.
Let me see something else, though. Let me see. He said pledge. I've seen pledge before, but I'm not sure if that exactly can coincide with each other. Yeah, and you go down. Yeah, I'm looking at that too. Yeah, but I don't know if that's because this talking about a millstone, upper millstone, the pledge. Yeah, I don't even want to start quoting to see if that is that. Because then you also got a pledge in 22 and 25 or 26, I think. But I'm going to get back to you on that question because I'm not sure. Because it's talking about lend money. He said, if a man lend money to any of thy people that is poor by thee, and thou shalt not be held in thy usury, neither shalt thou lay up on the usury. And if thou all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge, see, I'm not sure. And then he said up a millstone on that, so we're going to get back on that one. Leisure, right. Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I don't know what, and it's not even just the millstone, it's the upper millstone. Exactly. Yeah, you got upper, and it's an upper, this is the upper millstone to pledge. So that's I don't even know exactly what that is. I'm about to get back on that one. Yeah, because you, yeah, I'm sorry about that. I get back on that
They
because it could
appreciate it,
be a
though.
lot of stuff, and I don't want to misquote because you like like the brother said, Mikael said, it could a pledge. You can pledge, pledge a different types of pledges to stuff. So I don't even know. I know in Exodus 22, you can, yeah, because they got pledges to like on Exodus 22 and 26. That's a pledge. It said Exodus 22 and 26 is if thou at all take thy neighbor's raiment to pledge that thou deliver unto him till the sun goes down. So you poor, right? Exactly, right. Right, right, and those are different pledges. And if you read on, if you go down in 24, it talks about that in 12, which is what Brother Nate had. He said, "If a man be poor, thou shalt not sleep with his pledge." You said us raiment, right? Which is what it back and forth, right? Which is what tied in there. But I don't know what that millstone is. Right. Right. What, millstone? For grinding the food? Yeah. But that's what it said. Millstone was to grinding up food. Okay. Yeah. Said millstone. Huh. Anything else you got on there?
Not right now.
I think it crashed.
Not right now. I'm gonna go back to Facebook.
Millstone. That's a good one.
Nah,
That's
you
the
ain't
first.
got ain't nothing on Facebook either. Not right now.
I'm gonna ask. You got
One on
something?
YouTube. YouTube.
Okay, what you got?
All right, say, there was a war in heaven, and Satan and his angels were cast to the earth. At what point during creation, before or during, were those events occurred?
Okay. All right, we can get into that. Yeah, because we just read that in Revelations 12. So you're trying to get a timeline on that. Read that Luke. What was that? Luke 4.
What is that, Luke? When I seen Satan fall.
Yeah,
like
what
from
Luke
heaven.
was that? That was
Luke chapter
12. Yeah, I think it
Yeah,
is.
it's Luke 12. I said Luke 6 earlier. I was way off, man. I think it's Luke chapter 12.
Let me see.
I seen Satan like lightning fall from heaven.
Let me see. Give me 1 second. But Willie got it, so he was able to pull that up. Question was.
Luke chapter 14.
Want me to repeat it?
Yeah, you can read it again.
All right. There was war in heaven, and Satan and his angels were cast to the earth. At what point during creation, before or during, were those events occurred?
Okay, let's Yeah, we read Revelation 12.
So go ahead. Did y'all read Revelation 12?
Yeah, we read that. That question came from what we just read, from the first question that that Hosea had.
Go ahead and restate the question again.
So let's
Yeah, y'all read Revelation.
yeah, we went to Revelation 12.
So read what he got, and then we can go ahead and try to break it on down.
There was war in heaven, and Satan and his angels were cast to the earth. At what point during creation, before or during, wherein those events occurred?
So it said at one point, right?
At what point?
So at what point?
At what point during the creation did that happen?
We already know that man was down.
You got a mic? Give him a mic.
So we already know that man was already. Satan and his angels was already down here before man was created, right?
Yeah, but yeah.
All right. So how we can go look at that? Let's go back to Genesis 1.
You know what? Man, I can't find it. I found it, man. It's in Luke chapter 10.
10.
Yeah. You want to
Okay.
read it?
No, go to Genesis. Put a marker there.
I got it.
Put a marker there.
What he got
Then
for
we go.
Luke?
He was just saying,
We seen
Satan got lightning fall from heaven, which is what we read from that. But let's go to Genesis. That's better, and then we'll come back to Luke 10.
Where you at?
Genesis 1.
All right.
Is it 1 or is it Genesis 2? That Genesis should be 3.
Well, if you want to take him to actually.
No, it's up to you. You caught up with it.
Actually, let's go to. You know what? Because I don't want to even. Because I add another. It'll be another question behind this here if I start with Genesis 1. So yeah, we can go to Genesis 3.
Genesis 3.
Yep. And really, it's really 2 with the tree.
The temptation of the woman. The fall of man.
So let's do this. So let's go to Genesis 2 first. Because we can start all the way in Genesis, plain and simple, and get the answer. But Genesis 2 and
Genesis 3.
no, we're gonna start at Genesis 2. It's Start at Genesis 2. I want you to go start at verse 6. Go ahead. Genesis
But-
2 and 6.
But there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
Go ahead.
And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
So we got the tree of life
And knowledge of good and evil.
and knowledge of good and evil. All right.
So you see, he is already in the garden already.
All right.
Now hold that spot there. Let's read this one thing here, because we already read Isaiah, and we seen how he was kicked down.
Yep.
But that's, you can see he in the garden.
Yep.
But let's go to Ezekiel 28, and then we'll go back and finish that.
It says, thou hast been in the garden.
Yes, sir.
Thou art wiser than Dan.
Right. Yes, sir. You quote. Pick it up at 28, and you can just start at verse 1.
Most deaf.
Yeah, go ahead.
The word of the Lord came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, thus saith the Lord God, because thine heart is lifted up, and thou hast said, I am God. I sit in the seat of God.
So that's what we read. That's what we read in Isaiah.
Yep, chapter
He said
14.
he wanted to ascend up to heaven, right? Go ahead.
O Lucifer. Yeah. In the midst of the seas, yet thou art a man, and not God, though thou set thine heart as the heart of God. Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that can be hid from thee. That's dope.
Go ahead. Finish.
With thy wisdom and with thine understanding, thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten silver and gold into thy treasure.
Go ahead.
But thy great wisdom, and by thy traffic, thou hast increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because of thy riches. Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of God, behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness.
Go ahead. Go ahead. Skip down. Let's go ahead and get to it. Skip down to verse 12.
Son of man, take up a lamentation upon the king of Tyrus, and say unto him, thus saith the Lord God, thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty.
Go ahead.
Thou hast been in Eden, the garden of God.
So he been in Eden, the garden of God. Go ahead, because we already know we talking about who was there was just Adam and Eve, right? That was it. But go ahead.
Thou hast been in the garden of Eden. Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, the topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, and the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and the gold. The workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth.
They covered it, right? Go ahead.
I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God.
So he there on the holy mountain of God, and he was in the garden of Eden. And when we read the creation, when you go back, which we're gonna go back and read it, you know about Adam and Eve, they was already there when the Lord made them. But you ain't see when he made this cherubim here, which we know when we read from Isaiah 14. That's in Revelation 12. It's Satan the devil. So you getting all those two together. So now we see that there. But when you read in the creation, you can see that already he is already there. And you see when he made Adam and Eve, and we know Genesis mean the beginning, right? But go ahead and finish that, and then we'll go back and read it.
That's 100. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth. I have set thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God.
So he on the holy mountain of God. He been on the holy mountain of God and all that. And he also was in the garden. So you got the Lord in the garden, and then you got the whole serpent, the devil. He in the garden too. But also we realize that we seen when Adam and Eve was made. So obviously they was before. But we'll go back and read it. Go ahead and finish that, and then we'll go back.
Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day that thou wast created. till iniquity was found in thee.
Yeah, and so iniquity was found in him. And when we read in Revelation, we also found out that he was cast out of heaven, right? So we know that he was cast out of heaven, and he cast where? On the earth. Because he was right there with Adam and Eve. So obviously he was before that. But that'll show you that. But we'll go back and read it. Let's go back to Genesis. Because now you see that he's in the Garden of Eden. You seen when Adam and Eve was created, but you didn't see when he was created. But you also got an insight. You can see he was in heaven.
Yeah.
Even before that.
Yeah.
Because it was war in heaven, right?
in heaven.
And he got kicked out. And once he got kicked out of heaven, he was here. So it was before the creation. Because he owned the earth already, right? And we seen war that was happening. So that's pretty much telling it anyway. But let's go ahead and read it, finish reading it. What verse was you at?
In Genesis chapter 3.
Yeah, you know what? Let's go. Yeah, he was in 3, but let's go back a little bit.
Luke chapter 10.
Yeah, was he in 2?
Yeah.
Go,
talking about
yeah.
The tree of knowledge of good and evil.
Yeah, what verse was you at?
17. Genesis 2 and like 9. Yeah.
You can start at 7, 2 and 7.
And the Lord God formed man of the dust of the ground.
So go ahead, finish, brother.
And breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul.
Go ahead.
And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed.
So now he just got the man he formed, right? After he created everything else, he got the man he formed. But go ahead.
And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to the sight and good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil.
So we know who that is, because you can read that in Revelations. But we also read in 12 that here, and we also seen it in Ezekiel, and we also seen it in Isaiah. He's already there. So he's already in the midst, but he said he there. After he made the man, you see in verse 9, he said he's there too, right? You said after he formed the man, he said the Lord formed the man and made him from the Lord from the ground. Every tree pleasing to the sight, good for food. The tree of life also in the midst of God, and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So he's already there. Now, how far before that he created? I don't know. But he was there before the creation. That we do know. So I think that was pretty decent on that. What else we got on there? I hope that suffice.
Before he formed man out of death. I like that Luke chapter 10 too.
That Luke 10? Yeah, we can go read it. Let's read it. You've been trying to read Luke 10 for a while. Let's read it. We kind of know the place of it anyway, so let's go ahead and read it.
I think he said before the world was too.
Yeah, let's go ahead and read it. That'll just put some icing on it, because he's talking about the same thing. That's 18 it is? 10 and 18?
Yep, something like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead.
18?
Yeah.
And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning fall from heaven.
So we got a time frame on that, when that took place. We know that was even before, because he was in the Garden of Eden after he made man. When we read in that Genesis 2 and 9, when he made man, they were already there. He was already there. So, and we see, he saw him. He said, verse 18, he said, and he said unto him, I beheld lightning as he fall from heaven. So we knew that took place before. So when you read Revelation 12, right, that took place then. And when you read Ezekiel 28, you will see that he was walking in the stones of God. So he was in heaven. And we also know when we read Isaiah that he wanted to go back. Isaiah 14, he wanted to go back. So he was already kicked out when Isaiah talked about 14 kicked out. But Ezekiel 28, he said he was walking up on the stones of the mountains of God. So yeah. So this is Jesus here saying, hey, this is what happened. But when you read Revelation 12, you can get an insight on exactly what happened. Hey, they was fighting. And we understand the reason from what the scriptures we had. He was a coveted cherubim. He wanted to be like the Most High.
Line upon line precept. That was good.
So yeah, that's that on that one. What else we got? I think that should suffice on that.
Actually, it really did. I'm gonna let Brother Willie read with the rest of what he said.
Okay, go ahead. You got more to it? Yeah, okay.
Another part to it. They say, okay, but who were the inhabitants of the earth and the sea when Satan came down? Thank you, a bit confusing.
Who was the inhabitant of the earth?
Who were the inhabitants of the earth and the sea when Satan came down? Talking about Revelation 12.
Yeah, well, I mean, when he came down, they were down here. You know, outside of that, I can't speak on that. He said who was the inhabitant on that, you know, when they came down.
So really, we have to kind of go back all the way back to the first state now, and that's where it starts to get.
Yeah, but this taking place, you know, when you say as far as in, you know, you're trying to get a timeline on this thing.
Well, what his question is really with Revelations 12, correct? Yeah, and so Revelations 12, was he down here? What, during the creation? I mean, during the creation or before the creation?
Right. It was war in heaven, right?
Yep.
Uh-huh. Go ahead and read it.
He can read 12 and 12. Go ahead, read 12. Read 12 and 12 again.
Revelation 12:12.
Yeah.
Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
Now that there is talking. He's just talking about. That's just warning the people. Period.
That's already here.
Here. That's here. Then that's not that time frame as when he at the beginning when he said who was here first. So that was like a two-part question to that. But as far as in that question is there, who is he talking about? He just that's in general with everybody, because he's still here even to this day.
Yeah.
So that's what that's talking about.
Yeah.
So, you know, in that aspect, hey, we got to deal with that all day long.
Yeah, because the who is.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Right. Yeah. It's a foregone conclusion because the Revelations, we ain't even gotten to that time yet.
And then
so we haven't even, that's future. That's beyond where we at right now.
And
so we, up until that point right now, we still in the midst of it. So we still dealing with that. So when he talk about in that Revelation 12, that's nations, everybody. Which every soul got to deal with that anyway. So we going through those times, even to right now, we dealing with Satan. And we know that just by the world itself and how evil it is going out here, that we have to deal with him. So that's, you know, that time frame on that is different. Now, when he was created and all that, we don't know. But we know he was here already before man got here, because we just read that in Genesis. So we got that timeline. But far as in what he's saying in 12, that's an outline for all nations, period. You know, that's basically a warning. Let's go back there and finish reading that, because that's one thing. Let's just go ahead and finish reading that all the way through, because that's giving you a warning. Yeah, Revelation 12, and you can pick it up at 12, I guess. Well, no, pick it up at
13.
No, go ahead and just start at 7 again, and we're gonna read down. Go ahead.
There was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought in his angels.
So we already got that pretty much cleared up on time frame, who it is, what's going on, and all that. Let's go further. Go ahead.
And prevail not.
Which we found out, right? Mm-hmm. And we understand what was going on, what was happening, you know, what's taking place, because he's a coveted cherub. He wanted to be like the Most High. We've read that. From Ezekiel to Isaiah, from Luke when he got knocked down, and so forth and so on. But go ahead, finish that.
Neither was there a place found any more in heaven.
So he got kicked out of heaven. Go ahead.
And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth.
Where he cast out at?
Into the earth.
See, he on earth, but we knew that because he was in the Garden of Eden already, right?
Amen.
So he got cast out to the earth, and what else?
And his angels were cast out with him.
So now his angels, they got kicked out, and they down there with him. They got cast out just right there with him. So you want to know who was down here? Hey, they down here. Satan and who else? His angels, right? So they all down here. Now, he wanted to know who inhabited. They inhabited it now, before Adam and Eve got there. But go ahead, finish that.
Was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan,
Okay.
which
See
deceived
the whole world. He was cast out to the earth, and his angels was cast off with him. So that's just letting you know, hey, they was here. So that's all that's saying. I think that's pretty clear on that. But that's the time frame on that, because he's cast out to the earth, and they pretty much was the far as we can read in the scriptures is the first that I can see that inhabit the earth right there was them. Far as the book is concerned. Now, was it anything else before that? Yeah, they got other stuff, but we ain't gonna even get into that.
Yeah, and if you want to add to that, bro, could you read Jude 1 and 6?
Yeah. Exactly. More information on it. Yeah, he'll read it. Go ahead,
So
read
we
that.
know where they was at first. It's gonna tell us.
Right, go ahead.
and the angels which kept not their first estate,
Which was in heaven, because that's where they was at. That's where the war was
So
at.
that was their first estate.
State, right.
They was at first.
First estate, right. Go ahead.
but left their own habitation.
And we found out what happened. How Michael kicked him out. And they came down like lightning, which that's how they even moved. They move like lightning. But go ahead.
He hath reserved in everlasting chains unto darkness, under darkness, unto the judgment of the great day.
That was a good script too. Yeah. So he's just letting you know, hey, that which is what happened. So obviously, see, they was there even before that. They was in heaven. So they was already there. So that'll give you a time frame on that. And when you read Genesis, that's the beginning. Genesis even mean beginning. So what happened before the beginning, we're going to leave that up to the Lord.
You got something else on there?
Yeah, got another one. This one is referencing Isaiah 42 and 6.
Okay.
It say, I the Lord have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thy hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles. Who is this speaking of? Isaiah 42 and verse 6.
Okay, that you there?
Yep. Isaiah 42 and 6.
Yeah.
42 and 6. They just basically read the scripture.
Behold my servant whom I uphold. I put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. And that's Jesus, Most High? Our judge?
No, go to verse 1. Yep.
Behold my servant whom I uphold, mine elect in whom my soul delighteth. I have put my spirit upon him. He shall bring forth judgment to the Gentiles. He shall not cry nor lift up nor cause his voice to be heard in the street. A bruised reed shall he not break, and the smoking flax shall he not quench. He shall bring forth judgment unto the truth. He shall not fail nor be discouraged till he have set judgment in the earth, and the owl shall wait for his law. Thus say God the Lord, he that created the heavens and stretched them out, he that spread forth the earth and that which cometh out of it, he that giveth breath unto the people upon it, and spirit to them that walk therein. I the Lord have called thee in righteousness, and will hold thine hand, and will keep thee, and give thee for a covenant of the people, and for a light of the Gentiles.
Okay, so we gonna get into this right here. Because we see what he's talking about. He said my servants, right? Let's go to
Who's he talking about? Isaiah 49 and 6.
no, let's stay here. Let me see. Let's stay here. Let's go to 45. Isaiah 45. Stay right here. Go to Isaiah 45 and read verse 4.
Verse 4. For Jacob my servant's sake, and for Israel mine elect.
So you got Jacob here. He said, Jacob's my servant for my servant's sake, and Israel my elect. So we're starting to see who God elect is. Go ahead.
I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me.
So he let him know, hey, that's God's elect. Now let's go to
Kids keep we got dug up rugrats, the children of Israel.
let's stay in Isaiah. We'll go to Isaiah 9.
Isaiah 9.
Yeah. And then we're going to go to because the Lord operates through his people. Read Isaiah 9 and yeah, you can start there.
Yeah, I'll mess with you. For unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given.
Which is the Lord, but go ahead.
Most deaf. And the government shall be upon his shoulder.
Go ahead.
And his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace.
Go ahead.
Upon the throne, of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end.
Go ahead, brother.
Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this.
Yes, sir. But I want you, So that's the Lord dealing with the Lord. That's the Lord there. But let's go to did you read that? Like read verse 8. You didn't read verse 8. Read verse 8 too.
Verse 9?
Yeah, no, verse 8. You read verse 8?
No, I didn't read verse 8.
I know. Read it.
The Lord sent a word into Jacob and hath lighted upon Israel.
So we see that Israel got the word. See, they got the word. So that's what that is. Let's go back to that. What was that verse again? 42 and 6.
I like that Psalm chapter 147. He sheweth his word unto Jacob.
Yeah, we can read that, but I wanted to get to this because we in the same book.
Isaiah chapter 42.
Yeah, 46. Read that verse because he read it, but you read it. Go ahead.
I, the Lord, have called thee in righteousness.
So we know that's the Lord. Go ahead.
And will hold thy hand and will keep thee, to give thee for a covenant of the people, for a light of the Gentiles.
So we already know we're talking about Israel because he said he showed his word unto Jacob, right? So we know we're dealing with Israel. So that's what that is. To give the light unto the Gentile. It's Israel itself.
That's Psalm chapter 147 say he hath not dealt so with any other nation.
Yeah, we can read that. We can read that. You can go ahead and read that.
Psalm chapter 147. Yep. Is that you want to start it like
That's Psalm 147. Yeah, 19. Go ahead.
He sheweth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. He hath not dealt so with any nation.
So he ain't dealt with nothing. So you're talking about getting the word or the light to the Gentiles, getting knowledge from Israel itself. Go over to Amos 3.
Amos 3. Famous Amos. I'm there, brother.
Amos 3 and 7. Read that one verse.
Surely the Lord God will do nothing.
So he ain't going to do nothing but what?
But he revealeth his secret unto his servants, the prophets.
So, hey, and we know who the prophets is Israel. So he ain't doing nothing but revealing the secrets unto them. So when it comes down to that, talking about getting the light unto the Gentiles, that it's got to come through Israel.
That's real.
Let's go. We're on one more spot, man. Let me see.
That's real. Reveal the secret to the servants, the prophets.
Let's go to Acts. Let's read Acts real quick. Let's see.
And just keep in mind too, bro. The reason where it becomes confusing to some people is, remember, Jesus in the nation of Israel is interchangeable.
Right.
Like, just like Jesus, you called my son out of Egypt. He called his firstborn, which was Israel, out of Egypt, but he also took Jesus up out of Egypt. So
Right.
they shadow each other a
Right.
lot. And you know, when you get through, bro, you can read, you know, just that type of speech is in there where Israel and the Messiah would be synonymous in
Right.
some ways. If that's the best way to put it.
Right.
Brother Moses, I'm going to raise up unto you a prophet
Yeah,
like
prophet
unto Moses,
like unto Moses, and he kind of
among your brethren.
Yeah. You know, so yeah, when you get through reading that, you could probably also check out that Zechariah 9.
Okay.
Because it kind of talk kind of the same way too. But
Okay, we'll read that right after this. Let's go to Acts 13 and pick it up at 46, because this is 44. He was preaching. Paul was preaching, and he was preaching to Israel, and you know, obviously Israel rejected like they do today. So that's what's going on here. Acts 13, chapter 13, verse 44. Acts chapter 13 and 44. Go ahead.
And the next Sabbath day came almost the whole city together to hear the word of God.
So they wanted to hear the whole word of God, but go ahead.
But when the Jews saw the multitudes, they were filled with envy.
Because hey, obviously they didn't believe in Jesus, and they had their own agenda on how they was teaching it. So hey, this is what they did. So they got envious, and they did what?
They were filled with envy and spake against those things which were spoken by Paul, contradicting and blaspheming.
Go ahead.
Then Paul and Barnabas waxed bold and said, it is necessary that the word of God should first have been spoken to you.
So who is who?
The
That's
Jews.
Israel, right? The Jews, right? It's Israel. So he said, hey, it was necessary for y'all to get it first, right? Because it goes from the Jew first, but did to the Gentiles, right? But go ahead.
But seeing ye put it from you and judge yourselves unworthy of everlasting life, lo, we turn to the Gentiles.
So you see right here, now you got Israel right here. He said it was going to be a light. We read in, that was Isaiah 42, right, in 6. He said it was going to be a light unto him. So, hey, this is what's going on. He said, hey, we turn to the Gentiles. But go ahead.
For so hath the Lord commanded us, saying, I have set thee to be a light of the Gentiles.
Ain't that what we just read? A light to the Gentiles, right? So he said, I sent you to be a light to the Gentiles. But go ahead.
That thou shouldest be for salvation unto the ends of the earth. And when the Gentiles heard this, they were glad and glorified the word of the Lord. And as many as were ordained to eternal life believed.
So so we seen that it was Israel that had the word. Then we also seen who the light was. So hey, the Lord had ordained that down the line, and that's the light that it's talking about in 42 and 6. And when the Gentiles came in the fold, was Cornelius, and that's Acts 10. That's when they first came in. But we see the reason why. Hey, Israel didn't want to hear it. Hey, The Lord ain't a respecter of person, and this is what happened in Acts 10. We can read some of that, but this is how, because we also read, he said he don't show his visions and none to nobody but Israel, right?
Yeah.
He sent it to his prophets. That's what we read, right?
Most definitely.
So that's what's going on. But it came in Acts chapter 10 when Cornelius was there. But we can read some of that. But go ahead.
Acts chapter 10.
Yeah. You can pick it up at 1. We ain't going to read it all because I think we pretty much cover that for the most part about that 42 and 6.
All right, for sure. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius.
You know what? We ain't going to even go there. What was that? Zechariah?
Zechariah 9.
9. We gonna go ahead and read that because that's neither here or there.
Even though you basically just sold it up, but yeah, just to add to it so they'll see the same speech now. Parts of this was fulfilled already when Jesus came in the New Testament. But as you've seen in Isaiah 42, you know, it talked about the prisons and the lives to the Gentiles. So yeah,
Right.
It's the same cat. And so you go to start at Zechariah 9 and 9.
Go ahead. 9 and 9.
Zechariah
Zechariah 9 and 9. Yep.
Yeah.
Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Behold, thy king cometh unto thee. He is just and having salvation, lowly and riding upon an ass, and upon the foal, and upon the coat, and upon a coat the foal of an ass.
Keep going.
And I will cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off, and he shall speak peace unto the heathen. And his dominion shall be from sea even to sea, and from the river even to the ends of the earth.
So that's the same thing you see when they get to talking about, you know, the light to the Gentiles,
Right.
and he gonna come.
Yeah.
And we know him coming riding on the ass.
Hosanna.
That literally happened, right, when he came and told him to untie the ass. But keep reading just to make it look
Yeah.
clear.
And it's also what you're saying. Hey, it's covering the whole earth.
Yeah.
From sea to sea, from one end of the earth to the other end.
Yeah.
So that word is getting out. It's covering the whole earth. But go ahead.
Right. And read verse 11.
11. As for thee also, by the blood of thy covenant, I have sent forth thy prisoners out of the pit, wherein is no water.
That's what it was talking about in Isaiah 42.
Yeah.
It said the covenant, the blood, the prisoners.
Right.
It's the same thing.
Exactly.
You know, and so yeah, y'all could keep reading, you know, when they get a chance, but they'll see it all coincide together. So
Oh yeah, no doubt.
yeah.
What else? We got something else on there? Anybody in the house got some questions?
You ain't got nothing else right now on YouTube.
Try Facebook.
I got a quick one.
Nah, ain't nothing on Facebook either.
Okay, what you got?
I got Jude verse 9. I was reading that when the brother shout out Jude chapter 6. That was I read Jude chapter 9. That's
Jude?
Jude verse 9.
Yeah, so it ain't but one book, so we ain't gonna find that. That must be in them lost books, and we don't deal with that.
Yeah.
Jude verse 9. Oh man, you tripping on that one. Well, go ahead and read it.
Yet Michael the archangel,
Yeah.
when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses. Durst not bring him to a railing accusation, but said, the Lord rebuke thee.
Don't make me go to Deuteronomy
That was
29.
when-
Yeah, so what was your question? What was your question, man, about that?
What are Michael and the devil? What are, you know?
What is he trying to do with his body? I don't know. What can he do with his body? I don't know. And I
I
don't
got
even
an
like
answer for him. Let's go to
28
Deuteronomy. Let's go to
Deuteronomy
Deuteronomy
28,
29. Let's go to Deuteronomy 29 and 29, brother.
What about Moses not circumcising?
Huh?
That don't got nothing to do with Moses.
29
not
to,
circumcising.
hey, you know what? You be speculating, bro.
Let's go to Deuteronomy 29
And 20.
and 29.
Okay, let's get it. No, we got to keep this thing in motion.
And when you get there, brother, I just want you to read it.
Keep it in motion. 29.
Yeah, you got no, ain't nothing on the thing. You got something about that body? Go ahead, bro.
Yo. Check this out. Is that a correlation to when the Lord tried to slay him for not circumcising his boy? There's no correlation.
Nah. Yeah.
Deuteronomy 29 and 29.
Yeah, he want to know what he trying to do with the body. Yeah. Well, he want to know what he going to do with it when he get it. Right. Well, that was part of it. That's what he was getting to, right? This was just a question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Go and read that, man. 29.
No, don't, y'all take me out of this. Yeah.
Go and read it.
Don't say I don't know my own question.
No, don't worry
seem
about it.
like
Just read.
I'm
Just
dummy or some
read.
shit,
Just
man.
read. Jake,
I
you
mean?
fine. You
Don't say
fine.
that,
You
man.
fine, brother. Go ahead and read that.
The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all these words of the law. Come on,
No, Hebrew. It's
come on, brother.
Off the stage.
Oh my goodness. Now that's the ain't nobody have an answer to that, So sometimes that can be frustrating. The question was, what he was frustrated on because he thought, because it ain't, questions like that's not a dumb question, and sometimes I've heard that questions a lot of time. But it's Jude. We read it real quick. Okay, he wanted to know let's read it, and then we can get some understanding on it. So it's Jude, and it's verse 9. So let's go and read it, so we can get a totally insight on that. And then it is what it is, at the end of the day, ain't really nothing to get frustrated about. None of us really know what's really going on there, to be honest. We can speculate on what we think can be going on, but at the end of the day, man, we don't really know. So go ahead and read it, man. Jude 1 and 9. Go ahead and read it.
Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil.
Now we read all, he was like in Luke, we said, that they got kicked out of heaven. Revelation 12 and Revelation 12 show you that. So that's what's going on. So right here, we have Michael, and Michael kicked him out because it said it was war in heaven in Revelation 12, and Michael the archangel kicked him out. So he deals with that. So go ahead and read that again. Start over.
Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil,
because that's what we always do. He's the one who contended with. Even when he held Daniel up, he had to send Michael to get him released. And when he had a message when Gabriel had a message, should I say, for Daniel. But go ahead.
He disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, "The Lord rebuked thee."
So that's the thing with that. So they want to know what's going on with that. Why is, and the thing is the Lord put it there for us to know about it. And obviously he was trying to get to his body. So he's just trying to figure out, his question was, why is he doing that? And what he was going to do with the body when he did it. But, I don't know.
Book really don't tell us.
So.
I would like to add to this. That part in there in Jude, like he says, it's kind of complex. You can only speculate what he was exactly going to do with the body.
Right.
But what we do know is that the key thing that always jumped out to me was he said, could you read that again? Where he say Satan was trying to make an accusation or something like that?
Right.
Verse 9.
Yeah, I'm going to show you what that's spoken of again.
Yet Michael the archangel, when contending with the devil, he disputed about the body of Moses, durst not bring against him a railing accusation, but said, "The Lord rebuked thee."
And see, the angels not supposed to do that. Even the angels, as wicked as they are, Satan gonna pull in, he gonna break any rule. But apparently it's some type of understanding that the angels got, that they don't make false accusations against, mortals, people, anybody. And you can see that in 2 Peter 9. If you go there,
Just go read that. Yeah.
yeah, it get kind of deep. That's always been kind of deep to me. But you see it again. Right.
2 Peter 9.
2 Peter 2 and 9.
Okay. Yeah, you can go ahead and read it.
The Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptations, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. But chiefly them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities.
Keep going.
Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusation against them before the Lord.
So it tell you, and you can keep on reading, that even the angels who are stronger than, powerful men on this earth, they won't bring false accusations against them. And we know Moses was a powerful man on this earth. We looked up to him. So whatever Satan was trying to associate him with, he needed that body to make that false accusation, which is something that's a no-no for the angels.
Right.
So that's all I could tell you, but I always looked at that, so I knew to connect it with that. So it's kind of deep, but that's really as far as I can go with it.
Yeah.
Unless somebody got something to add.
Yeah.
I just want to, where's the scripture where they were talking about Satan and calling him an accuser?
Yeah. That's right. We read that, but yeah. Yeah, that's what he do. You say he accuse him day and night. That's Revelation 12.
May not be necessarily anything that Moses did per se, or he might on his body per se. He may want him to be, maybe he's accusing him so that he could be in the lake of fire. Possibly, I'm just hypothetically speaking, but Revelation 12 already justifies that Satan is an accuser regardless.
Right. Right, give him the mic, yeah.
We don't know. Whatever the accusation is, we don't know because that's what Satan do. He's an accuser, he's a deceiver, and all that.
Yeah,
other type
and we
of
read
stuff
that in Revelation 12. It say he accused the day and night.
Right.
So
day
that's
and night.
yeah.
So that's what he do. That's his nature. Like literally, that's his nature.
Okay, we got one online. Okay, I think we good on that one anyway. It's another question. Okay.
It's prosperity gospel false doctrine.
Oh man.
Yes. Oh, okay. They got some most. Okay. I tried to tell a Judah sister that is lost under the leadership of Kenneth Copeman, and she debunked me and asked me, where does it say in the Bible that it's false doctrine? Please let me know if it is, and if you can put scriptures to back it up if it isn't.
Okay. Oh yeah. Let's go to Isaiah, I think. Let me see. Yeah. Let me see Isaiah. Let me see. Let's go to Isaiah 56. I think that's in there. Yeah, we can read that afterwards. That's Isaiah.
55.
Start at verse 10.
Yeah.
56 and 10.
Yeah.
His watchmen are blind. They are all ignorant. They are all dumb dogs. They cannot bark, sleeping, lying down, loving to slumber.
Yeah, they love to slumber, and they dumb. That's like a dumb dog, using an analogy as a dumb dog when something happens. Go ahead. What they also do what?
Yea, they are greedy dogs.
So they greedy dogs. Which what?
Which can never have enough. And they are shepherds
What did the Lord say? He said he's the good shepherd, right? Mm-hmm. So they the shepherds here. And he said that they are greedy dogs and can never have enough. Mm-hmm. No matter how much it is, they can't get enough. You can see that right now. That's all prosperity. But these are the shepherds. These are the people who's leading the flock. He called them greedy dogs that can never have enough. And what else?
And they are shepherds that cannot understand. They all look to their own way, everyone for his gain.
That's all. They only for their gain. They keep telling you prosperity is your birthright. Mm-hmm. You keep sending them money, but it's only for their gain. Mm-hmm. They're the only one gaining. You still in the same predicament you hearing from them. That's that prosperity doctrine. That's the doctrine that they teach. You are always on the bottom, and they always on top, saying, "Hey, they need more." If you go on more and more, they talk about all type of fundraisers that never even come out. Talking about fundraisers for buildings they never build. But go ahead and finish that.
From his quarter, come ye, say they, I will fetch wine. And
this is the mindset that they got going on from one to the next. Go ahead.
And we will fill ourselves with strong drink. And tomorrow shall be as this day, and much more abundant.
See, and that's their mindset. That's how they feel. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's Old Testament.
Right.
Let's give them the New Testament too. 2 Peter 2 and 1. 2 Peter 2 verse 1. Probably going to do some skipping through it too. Because sometimes you're going to get New Testament Christians.
Right. Say that's how it was back in the day. You right?
Yeah, they're going to be like, well, that's the Old Testament. Show me in the New Testament. So whoever the sister or brother is. Mm-hmm. 2 Peter 2 and 1. Going to start reading that.
But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there should be false teachers among you, who privately shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Lord that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction.
Keep reading.
And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of. And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you.
So what do they? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You got it. Go ahead.
No, well, okay. Well, you got, they showing you here. He's showing you here through covetousness, through your own lust. They're going to use feigned words and merchandise and make merchandise of you. They're going to get your money.
Exactly.
They're going to definitely get your money. Go to verse 10. Skip down to verse 10.
But chiefly, them that walk after the flesh in the lust of uncleanness, and despise government. Presumptuous are they, self-willed. Mm-hmm. They are not afraid to speak evil of dignities.
They're not afraid to speak evil of dignities at all. They'll say anything to try to get that money up out of you. Skip down to verse 17.
These are wells without water, clouds that are carried with the tempest, to whom the mist of darkness is reserved forever.
Okay, one more time.
For when they speak great swelling words of vanity.
And that's what they do.
Yeah, they do.
They speak these great words that you really don't understand, but you still think you know what they're talking about. Keep reading.
They allure through the lust of the flesh.
They allure through the lust of your flesh. Keep reading.
Through much wantonness. Those that were clean escape from them who live in error.
What do they promise you?
While they promise them liberty, they themselves are the servants of corruption. For of whom a man is overcome, of the same as he brought in bondage.
So they're going to promise you everything that your heart desires. If you sow $1,000 seed now, you'll get it back sevenfold. That's false prosperity teaching.
That's exactly what it is.
That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, that's exactly what that is.
If you see anything else in there you want to keep reading, you can go ahead. But that's all I was putting.
No, that's good. That's good. Yeah, that's good. Old and new. That's good. Go ahead. You have a question in the house?
See, everybody done left.
Right.
One, two.
I was talking with my parents recently, and I was trying to help get some understanding on who Israel actually is. So besides Deuteronomy 28 and Genesis 10 and Revelation 1, where it say Jesus had, feet like bronze burned in the fire, how can I explain to them that black people are actually Israel? Because they don't seem to get it.
Okay.
You said besides Deuteronomy 28?
Yeah. He went through the signs. Yeah, he went through the signs already.
Isaiah 42.
Isaiah.
Go to Isaiah 42. Got a couple places for you. I believe it's 42. I usually get them mixed up, 42 and 24.
42 and 24.
No. I usually get them mixed up. Let me make sure it's 42.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
42. I guess you can start at 19 and work your way all the way to 25.
Mm-hmm. Well, now go ahead on to 18.
18? Okay, yeah. Start at 18.
Yeah, go ahead and read that.
Hear ye deaf, and look ye blind, that ye may see.
Okay, so this is people who, No, you can go ahead and speak. You can go ahead and speak.
No. I was seeing who.
Yeah,
was
this is you blind. So, but these people are blind right now. He's talking about that they may see, because this is what you try. This is the whole problem. What you saying? They can't see it, right?
Right.
So he's telling them, hey, hear ye deaf and look ye blind. You don't say that if you really deaf, right? So it's obviously some people who just ain't getting it, right? Go ahead.
Who was blind but my servant, or deaf as my messenger that I sent?
Which we read a few scriptures that Israel is his servants. Go ahead. And his messenger. Go ahead.
Who is blind as he that is perfect, and blind as the Lord's servant? Saying many things, but thou observest not. Opening the ears, but he heareth not. The Lord is well pleased for his righteousness' sake. He will magnify the law and make it honorable. But this is a people robbed and spoiled. They are all of them snared in holes, and they are hid in prison houses. Therefore,
Hold
pray.
up. So read that again. They what?
But this is a people robbed and spoiled.
So these people robbed and spoiled. So that means they ain't pretty much got nothing, and everybody take off from them. Just like you got people who, set up shop in your neighborhood and everything. They take their money outside of your neighborhood and spend it in theirs, and your neighborhood is all in a bad state. This is those type of people. So who is these people that's robbed and spoiled? Go ahead.
They are all of them snared in holes. They are hid in prison houses.
So if you look up the statistics far as in us, everything that's negative towards us can happen. We hid in, we like what? What is it, like 13% of the population in this country?
And 75%
in the prison system.
Yep.
There's no way that's possible unless the Lord got his hand in that. That don't even balance out. And when you look across the board as an average, because of course there's more of other nationalities than it is of us here, but when you look across the board, so as an average, hey, we don't commit no more crime than the next man. But why are we 75% in the prison? But this is giving you, these are the signs you got to have, and you need these signs because he showed you when we just read 18, he said, you're blind, right? So they can't see. Go ahead.
And when it comes to the prison population, 25% of the world's population is in America. So if we're 13%, but 70%, we're the majority in America in prison, in the world.
Right.
Period. Go ahead.
Go ahead, finish that.
Therefore pray and none deliver.
See, when anything happens, hey, nobody try to help us. That's what they're showing. You in the prison system the most.
The dude that just got shot.
Right, exactly. In Georgia.
We pray.
You a pray.
Right.
You know what prayer is? Prayer is like when hunters go out and hunt animals or deer and stuff like that. That's a prayer. And that's exactly what happened to the brother. This is what's going on. Go ahead. So notice when anything happened to anybody, hey, nobody is trying to help us. It's like whatever. Them brothers, that brother that was running for his life, he was a jogger in Georgia, and those white boys those guys was hunting them down. He said for a pray, those brothers didn't even go to jail right away. They only went to jail because once it got out there, police didn't take them to jail.
I didn't know this happened back in February.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's just now coming out.
Right,
like,
them
whoa.
brothers was free for a while. They only got caught. They let them go. They called that where I don't know how that law is. It's a law with
Stand your ground.
Brown. Yeah, where you can take the law in your own hands. citizen arrest. That's exactly what it is. And they let it go. They're like, okay, yeah, they thought he was, criminal. That was it. And that went on until the outcry came. Then they decided to grab him and put him in jail. But that's what's going on. But go ahead and finish reading that. So this is just signs. Go ahead.
Therefore pray and none delivereth, for a spoil and none saith restore. Keep going.
Yeah, go ahead and finish
Who
that.
among you will give ear to this?
So you need that. They want you going to pay attention to this, because that's what's happening right now when you talk to your parents. They're not taking heed to that. So these are the things you say. He said, who among you going to have an ear for that? Go ahead.
Who will hearken and hear for the time to come? Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers?
And that's what we got to understand, where it's coming from. It's coming from the Lord. Go ahead.
Did not the Lord?
Go ahead.
He against whom we have sinned. For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law.
Hey, read 24 one more time.
Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers?
That's the Lord did, right? Keep
Exactly.
reading. Right. Keep reading.
Did not the Lord, he against whom we have sinned?
That's the main thing right there.
Yes,
Because
sir.
we sinned against the Lord, he's allowing
Because
all
we
of this
don't
stuff
have
to
a covenant
happen.
with Anybody else?
Who was that? What, say it again?
Is that because we don't have a covenant? God didn't make a covenant with anybody else besides Israel, right?
Right.
Yeah, far as and why that's happening, yeah.
Right.
We know better. And when you know better, you're supposed to do better, and we didn't. So that's
And the
that's
Lord
state of
warned us
that.
about all this too with our ancestors, with this book. And now it's coming to play. Keep on reading.
For they would not walk in his ways, neither were they obedient unto his law. Therefore he hath poured upon him the fury of his anger and the strength of battle, and it has set him on fire round about, yet he knew not, and it burned him, yet he laid it not to heart.
A lot of our people, all this stuff is happening to
11
us,
too, yeah.
but we ain't even considering that the Lord is the
I'm
one
exactly
doing this
11.
to us. So that's why when we go to people and tell them the Lord is doing it, they're like, no, not my Jesus. That's usually what happens. Go to Isaiah 51. Start reading at verse 17. Still giving this brother some scripts
Right.
to take to his parents. Isaiah 51 and start reading at verse 17.
Awake, awake, stand up, O Jerusalem, which hast drunk at the hand of the Lord the cup of his fury. Thou hast drunken the dregs of the cup of trembling and wrung them out. There's none to guide her among all the sons whom she hath brought forth.
There's none to guide her among all the sons who Israel has brought forth. Keep reading.
Neither is there any that taketh her by the hand of all the sons that she hath brought up.
Again, we talking about the sons of Israel. Keep reading.
These two things are come unto thee. Who shall be sorry for thee? Desolation and destruction and the famine and the sword. By whom shall I comfort thee? Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets.
When you faint, you don't know what's going on, right?
Right.
When you faint, you out cold. Where they at again, bro?
They lie at the head of all the streets.
They at the street corners. If your parents can't see that evidence right there, besides the prison house, only thing I can say is that hopefully you plant the seed and later on it develops.
Right.
And they see it for themselves. Keep reading.
As a wild bull in the net, they are full of the fury of the Lord. The
Brothers
rebuke-
on the corner upset for no reason.
Right.
They just on the corner mean mugging and mad. And if you look at them wrong, what you looking at, man? They may pull out a gun and do what? Keep reading.
The rebuke of thy God.
Is that the end of it?
Yeah.
So
that's
our brothers and now sisters, most of the brothers out on the corner killing each other, which results of us going into the prison houses because we won't serve our God. Now, like you said, you didn't try 28, Deuteronomy 28. That's a good thing, but these are some other spots too that you can use to try to show them that
You can go there one more, that Zechariah 11. You can read that.
Yeah, go ahead and read that too.
Yeah, go ahead. Zechariah 11, and what's that, verse 5, I think it is?
Yep. 4 and 5.
Yeah, you can read 3, I guess.
3 too.
Just start it. Yeah, 4 and 5. Go ahead.
4 and 5. Thus saith the Lord my God, feed the flock of the slaughter.
See, that's what you're supposed to do. But go ahead.
Whose possessors slay them.
Yep. So we property. We was property. We was brought here as slave. We property. So they own you, and this is how they feel.
And hold them, whose possessors slay them, and
So-
hold them,
Go ahead,
and
finish
hold
that.
themselves not guilty.
Hey, that's what always happened. Remember, if you go back in history, you see, Rodney King. Now you got to start saying history because everybody don't always go back that far. But hey, they was not guilty. I mean, they had it on tape. They have it on tape. They have it on tape. You watching it, and they be like, nah, they ain't guilty. Yep. But this is what the Lord said. He said, "Who possessors slay them." So this, you got to look at the evidence. These evidence is what's going on. That's why just even now, because people say, "Oh, well, that was back then in the '90s when it happened to that brother." But look, even right now, they slayed that brother, and they was out for months before even that happened. So he said, why? Because they don't hold themselves guilty. He said, "Possessors slay them, hold themselves not guilty." And what?
And they that sell them say, "Blessed be the Lord, for I am rich."
Because they know, they say, hey, the Lord is with me on this. Go ahead, because they wouldn't be able to do it if the Lord wasn't with them anyway. But go ahead.
And their own shepherds pity them not.
Ain't nobody looking to help us.
Not even our own preachers.
Oh, right.
That's why I say shepherds.
Right.
Our own shepherds, because they'll sell us out in a minute.
Yep.
And I'm talking about the Sunday doctrine preachers.
Oh, no doubt.
Right.
Yeah. So those are some of the things you can look into. Because, hey, that's just what it is.
And Trayvon Martin's another example.
Yep. Yeah, not guilty.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah.
So
Was
a
that
follow-up
enough
question.
on that?
Yeah, I got a follow-up question to that.
Okay.
So you know how Jesus was hated without a cause, and whatever happened to him is going to fall upon us. So is today's hating without a cause, is that racism, or will it be of the doctrine as usual too?
Well, really, that's really just, us. It is a cause for us because we didn't do what we were supposed to do.
Because we sin.
We sinned against God.
What is that, Daniel?
Daniel, yeah. When he was praying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Daniel 9.
Yeah, Daniel 9. Right. Read Daniel 9 and 11. I think it's 11.
So we don't exactly fall up under that because we had a purpose and we didn't do what we were supposed to do. Now, they hated the Lord without a cause, yeah. But us, nah, we ain't getting off like that.
Daniel 9 and 9 to 11, I guess.
9 and 9.
Yeah. This is prayer from Daniel was making because they was in captivity. Nebuchadnezzar took them all into captivity. So this is what's going on. But go ahead.
To the Lord our God belong mercies and forgiveness, though we have rebelled against him.
So notice we rebelled against him. Go ahead.
Neither have we obeyed the voice of the Lord our God, to walk in his laws, which he set before us by his servants the prophets. Yea, all Israel have transgressed thy law.
So he said all, right? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. All Israel transgressed the law. Go ahead.
Even by departing, that they might not obey thy voice. Therefore the curse is poured upon us. And the oath that is written in the law of Moses, the servant of God, because we have sinned against him.
So that's what happened. Hey, that's exactly what happened because we wasn't obedient. So this is the curse that it was poured upon us. And you can go back and read those curses, which you already know. That's Deuteronomy 28. Mm-hmm. Those are those curses. So that's coincide what happened with us.
As far as the skin tone, too, because he did say something about Christ, right?
Yeah.
What did you say, Job 30? Yeah, Job 30 and 30. Showing Israel being black, too. And then you got the basic stories. I mean, like Moses.
Right.
How he grew up in a black family. Of course, Christ, Paul, they thought he was Egyptian. Right. We know the Egyptians are black. We didn't got called Egyptians so many times, it's ridiculous.
Like on the Ethiopians, mm-hmm. which we can relate right now.
Yeah. Even Moses, he was saying Moses with his hand when he stuck it in his bosom and it came out white. Of course, how's that gonna happen with a white person?
Right.
But you put it back in, it come back out as his other hand, which was black, right? But read this Job 30 and 30 for him, and that should be enough, I guess.
Yeah, I think so.
My skin is black upon me, and my bones are burned with heat.
So it's showing that, his skin was black upon him. And that's Brother Job, early Israel.
It's something that I like that you mentioned that too, because earlier I was doing some research and they used to refer to each other as tribal names. So like, well, we're Israel, like we're Jerusalem. They wouldn't say, oh, I'm black and I'm white. Those are just social constructs. And for him to say that I'm black, like kind of say like him saying his feet is burned in the furnace. That must mean he really must have been black. His skin must have been burnt.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I like the emphasis that is made here. Even if you understand the times, like how they used to refer to themselves. So thanks for that. I appreciate it.
We read one more too, because the Egyptians, like Brother Ozzy said, the Egyptians, you got Arabs in that country. So now you might not always be able to relate. But let's go read that Amos 9 and 7. You can read that one because they ain't mess with them. Read that Amos 9 and 7.
Okay.
Because Egypt right now is, the Arabs are in that country. So now it doesn't look so black like the artifacts does. But go ahead and read that.
Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me?
So the Lord is comparing us to the Ethiopians, which we know they still the same. We know what the Ethiopians is. And not to mention, just when you look at, even most people know, whatever region you in that area, they normally are close to descent. So if you're on the African continent, that is what it is. Because you ain't never seen nobody of a dark skins over in Germany or even in that region. They not even in that area. That area right there, which so-called Middle East they call, just dealing with, geography, that's a dark skinned place over there. That's just that area right there. It is what it is. And if you notice all the areas where all the national nations at, the Asians not spread out. They right there together. They all right there together. All the Caucasians are all right there together. And all the black people, they right there together too. So that's the way the whole world is as a whole. So that'll tell you within itself. But read that again. He comparing them to what?
Are ye not as children of the Ethiopians unto me?
He said, hey, you like that. He ain't say, are you the children of the Greece? He said, are the Ethiopians.
Right.
Go ahead.
O children of Israel, saith the Lord, have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Ker?
See, so he's just letting you know. And you deal with those countries round about, hey, you're dealing with dark race people. So that was just some more insight on that.
I got one more for
you. Got one more? Go ahead.
If we're dealing with color, and this is also color, and this dealing with Jesus in the Old Testament. So let's go to Song of Solomon 1. Song of Solomon 1. I want you to read verse 1. Then we're going to skip down. You can go ahead, bro.
The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for thy love is better than wine.
All right, skip down to verse 5, because everybody, when even in like what they try to do in Sunday churches, tell you that this is Solomon. This is Solomon talking right here.
But
this is Jesus. Go ahead, verse 5. Go ahead.
I am black but comely, O ye daughters of Jerusalem.
You see that right there? They say, oh, I'm black and comely. That means I'm black and beautiful. But go ahead.
O ye daughters of Jerusalem, as the tents of Kedar, as the curtains of Solomon.
Now, right there, that should let you know something right there. I don't think Solomon be talking about himself in the third person like that. But go ahead.
Look not upon me, because I am black.
So if you didn't get it the first time, I'm going to tell you again, I'm black.
Right.
Go ahead.
Because the sun had looked upon me. My mother's children were angry with me.
Oh, so his mother's children are angry with him. Go ahead.
They made me the keeper of the vineyards.
Oh, so we know who the keeper of the vineyard is, right? That's Jesus, right? But what was they was what? Go ahead.
But mine own vineyard have I not kept.
See, he wasn't even allowed to keep his own vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're not greater than the master. We go through all this here. You know what I'm saying? We go face all the same temptation. We go face all these type of things. He was black. We black. He dealt with all these type of things. You know, when he came in the flesh, he had to deal with it. So, you know, this is a way to show you, hey, we're dealing with, it's your parents you trying to show all this information to? Or these just questions for yourself?
No, he's showing it for that was the question. Have more insight on explaining Israel to his parents. That's what he wanted.
It was my parents because the Sunday church, like, they put themselves on the high pedestal for being like, oh, we the most racially diverse and we the most, you know, we the most inclusive and stuff like that. But my goal is just to show them that the law of Moses and even the New Testament all throughout here is just consistent with having black people as the real priests, the people who were supposed to be priests of Israel.
Yep, and then even reading this here, like this show you about Jesus in the Old Testament. This Jesus talking through Solomon right here. All right?
And coming from a Sunday church, even for me, it was hard to fathom at first, but the more I read it, the more I understood. And I just hope they're showing them these scriptures, like reasoning with them through the word will help them understand. But it hasn't seemed like it's been kind of getting through them with what I've been saying, even through naming historical events. That's
and that's really what
I think that's Matthew's. I think Matthew 16. I think that is. Yeah. Where Jesus posed that question. 16. Yeah. And who actually who he was. 16 and 15. Because he posed this question here. Go ahead.
He saith unto them, but whom say ye that I am?
So he asking who he is. Because, you know, some of them was saying he was Elijah. Some of them say he was the prophet. So they were trying to figure out who he was. But go ahead. So he's asking his disciples that. Go ahead.
And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God.
So he told them that. He said, you the Christ. You the Son of the living God. Verse 17.
And Jesus answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven.
See, so that's letting you know, hey, the Lord had to, even though he with him, he said the Father had to reveal it. So he had to open his eyes up. He said, blessed are you, because, hey, he came from up heaven. So the Lord, he opened up, he gave you, like you said, the increase. But he said, hey, blessed, he said unto, verse 17, he said, Jesus answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. That's how he got to understand. So the Lord got to give it too, the increase. He got to give it. If he don't give it, you ain't going to get it. So he got to give it. So that's more, that's one of the things.
I'm not sure. Did we even give you the thing about Paul? Because again, we need to go in the New Testament for what he's dealing with.
No, we didn't do Paul.
Yeah, let's go to Acts 21 then. This is a good one too from the New Testament, and you can start read, huh? Yeah. Because we gave a lot of Old Testament stuff. You got to get something from the New when it comes to New Testament Christians. Acts 21, start reading at verse 37. This is when Paul's being led out of the castle by the Greeks.
Acts 21, 37, right?
Yeah, 37.
Go ahead.
And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, may I speak unto thee? Who said, canst thou speak Greek?
So this dude is asking him, you can speak Greek? Keep reading.
Art not thou that Egyptian, which before these days madest an uproar, and ledest out in the wilderness for 4,000 men that were murderers?
Now, he got mistaken as an Egyptian. Again, Israel always getting mistaken as the Egyptians.
Right.
Keep reading.
But Paul said, I'm a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, and a citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto the people.
So Paul admits to him, no, I'm a Jew. I'm an Israelite, because we know he was a Benjamite. So, but keep reading, last verse.
And when he had given him license, Paul stood on the stairs and beckoned with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in the Hebrew tongue, saying.
So Paul spoke Hebrew. So what a lot of people don't understand is a lot of these Gentiles was listening to a black Hebrew Israelite man.
Right.
So you could definitely use that too, showing that Paul was black because he got mistaken as an Egyptian.
And he was, notice when he was talking with his hands, which we always do a lot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He begging with his hands.
And he spoke in Hebrew. Yeah.
All right, let's go to Matthew chapter 7, and then we'll end it on this.
You writing these down, bro? You writing them down? Okay, praise
Matthew,
the Lord, praise the Lord.
Matthew chapter 7.
Right.
Because really when it all boils down, it's gonna come to this here as far as somebody getting it. We already know the Lord has to reveal it to you, but you also have to put into this too, because Lord ain't gonna give you nothing that you can't handle, and he ain't gonna give you nothing that you don't want. So you gotta want it here. And the Lord is always there. 7 and 7. Go ahead, start there.
Ask and it shall be given you. Seek and ye shall find.
So you got to be looking. Go ahead.
Knock and it shall be opened unto you.
Go ahead.
For everyone that asketh receiveth, and he that seeketh findeth, and to him that knocketh it shall be opened.
So hey, if you don't look, you ain't looking for it or want to, because hey, they need to see if you right or wrong about what you're saying. If somebody believe in something or don't believe in something, then you need to, if you say you don't believe in something, you should have a reason why you don't believe it. So they should be looking to prove you wrong on what you are saying. So they need to be doing that. They need to be seeking and finding, and he's saying, hey, if you seek, you're going to find it. So I think that's enough on that.
Yeah.
Anything else on that?
Let me see.
And again, sometimes it may take time too, man. You just keep walking and shining your light, and they may see it. If they don't see it, they won't. But if they do, hallelujah, praise the Lord.
Who are the original eunuchs who should not marry? Who are the original eunuchs who should not marry?
The original ones?
The original eunuchs.
I mean, you had eunuchs all throughout the world, but I don't know about far as like a original one. That's almost like saying like a tribe of them or something. Nah, you just had that.
I don't think there was a tribe.
Right. No, it wasn't.
Tribe of eunuchs?
He said, yeah, the way it's stated, like the original ones, like, no. Exactly.
Right.
There ain't really no original with
Take
it.
a tribe of you.
All right.
No.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
yeah, well, he just one of them. He said original. I don't know about that question. So
I've
ain't
never-
no originals.
I never heard of it. Original.
Right. You just got people.
Right.
Let's just go here. Let's go to Matthew 19.
Because whoever the original eunuch was, he couldn't have no more kids.
Exactly. So it was just
Right.
really they probably trying to put their question together.
I know.
You got eunuchs that just born through life, period.
Yeah.
You got to probably in every generation you have some eunuchs. But let's go to 19 and pick it up, I guess, at verse 10. Because they dealing with adultery and all that, and this is what's going up with that. Go ahead.
His disciples say unto him, if the case of the man be so with his wife, it is no good to marry.
Because they were talking about, because they was putting away for any cause. So that's what was talking about, divorce and just putting your wife away. So that's what they was talking about. So his disciples say, hey, shoot, if this was the case, it's good for them not to be married, which is what a eunuch is. They're celibate. But go ahead.
But he said unto them, all men cannot receive this saying, save they to whom it is given.
So it is given to some people. It's given to some people. Go ahead.
For there are some eunuchs which were so born from their mother's womb.
So you got people like that. They're just born from their mother's womb. They just eunuchs. Go ahead.
And there are some eunuchs which were made eunuchs of men.
So now you're getting different kinds. You got some men that say, hey, I'm not dealing with that. I'm just straight focusing on God. Go ahead.
And there be eunuchs which have made themselves eunuchs for the kingdom of heaven's sake.
Go ahead.
He that is able to receive it, let him receive it.
So everybody can't do that. So it ain't really like, you know, who was the first one and all that. Hey, they probably throughout the generations of life. But you got people who are disciplined and do it, and you got people who are just born like that. So that's just the way it is. What else you got on that? I think hopefully that's cleared that up. I ain't really, you know.
You can't really get
No, right.
can't get really in deep in on
Nah.
it anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, you know, you just eunuchs. It is what it is.
I'm trying to see.
Yeah, go ahead, take your
Some of this
time.
look like just regular comment.
It might be.
Would you consider a bike ride on the Sabbath profaning the Sabbath? Would that be profaning the Sabbath, riding your bike on the Sabbath? Would you be breaking
I think
the
they
Sabbath?
may be trying to consider that working out. Yeah, I think that. I'm one because some people say that actually working out on the Sabbath is wrong. So my thing is, are they asking is it like riding your bike as far as working out, or just going out for a stroll?
They just.
Mm.
I'm not saying I believe it. I'm just saying some people believe that actually working out. I don't believe it is. No.
Yeah, you know.
No, that's one of the things people, some Hebrews come up with. But actually riding a bike, I don't see that being a sin. I don't see that being a sin at all. I don't know if it would be for pleasure. I mean, let's say you get out of class and you go home and you just want to ride your bike. Or should you stay in the house till the sun go down? See, that's one of them flip-flop questions. So, is riding your bike on the Sabbath breaking the Sabbath? Okay. He said, what if you don't have no car? Well, you going to ride your bike to class, right? Yeah, you want the mic?
Let's go to Jeremiah 21. Let's go to Jeremiah 21.
Jeremiah 21?
Yeah. Yeah, let's just go there. I was looking for something else, but couldn't find it, so let's just go there. And
Riding their bike to go shopping? Yeah, you got a problem.
let me see where it's at. Yeah, I think it's 21. Let me make sure. It might not be 21. Let me see. It might be 14. I always mix it up. I think it's 14 and 21. Yeah.
Oh, Jeremiah 14 and 21?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's 14 and 21. Let me see. No, that's not it.
Yeah, they're gonna say.
Just basically on the Sabbath, the Lord said we are still. I think it might be 21. It's probably 21. I always get them confused. Yeah. Let me see. Let me see. Give me a second. No, it's 17 and 21. Okay. 17 and 21. And this is Israel in the land. This is Jeremiah the prophet speaking. Go ahead.
17.
Jeremiah 17 and 21.
Thus said the Lord, take heed to yourselves, and bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in by the gates of Jerusalem. Neither
So he's saying, hey, don't do any burdens. My thing has always been, hey, if that's something that you always do as far as pleasure, you want to be careful with that. So if that's a pleasure thing that you do, you want, because, the Sabbath day, he blessed that day, and he set it apart. He sanctified that day. So when you talk about something sanctified, you want to be something different from the normal day you do.
Right.
So if that's your routine or something that you always do all the other days, you want to be careful with that. So he said, verse 21, he said, thus said the Lord, take heed to yourself that you bear no burden on the Sabbath day, nor bring it in the gates of Jerusalem, nor what?
Neither carry forth a burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day. Neither do ye any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath day as I commanded your fathers.
So, hey, that day you want to keep that day holy. So it's, riding the bike, is that about being holy? You just want to be careful. Now, if you're riding a bike like to get you to church, because you're supposed to be dedicated towards God,
Right.
and focus on the Lord. So if it's focused on the Lord and you riding your bike to do that, that's one thing. But if you riding your bike just taking a stroll down the park and that's something you've been doing, you do all the time, you want to be careful with that.
Just like working out.
Exactly. You want to be
That's
careful. Right. People do it for that. So you want to be careful with that because, hey, you're supposed to be focused on the Lord. And it's kind of hard to do. I know people say I can put headphones on and listen to it, whatever, but, hey, you just want to be careful. But go ahead.
23.
You start 22 again. Read that again.
Neither carry forth the burden out of your houses on the Sabbath day.
So if you ain't carrying nothing out, you ain't, you know what I'm saying? Hey, you inside. If you ain't carrying nothing out, you inside. Go ahead.
Neither do ye any work, but hallow ye the Sabbath day as I commanded your fathers.
So you ain't doing nothing. And like Brother I say, hey, you doing that for working out, that could be a pleasure. So you want to be careful with that. Go ahead.
But they obeyed not.
Which is we didn't listen. Go ahead.
Neither inclined their ear, but made their neck stiff, that they might not hear nor receive instruction. And it shall come to pass, if ye diligently hearken unto me, saith the Lord, to bring in no burden through the gates of this city on the Sabbath day, but hallow the Sabbath day to do no work therein.
So you abstaining from a lot, and you ain't doing no work therein, because you're getting away from your pleasures. Most of the times, people might not call biking a pleasure because, hey, it'll take works to do that. But at the same time, hey, if you're doing it, according to working out or whatever, hey, you got to be careful with that.
Right.
Go ahead.
Then shall there enter into the gates of this city kings and princes, sitting upon the throne of David, riding in chariots and on horses, they and their princes, the men of Judah and the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and this city shall remain forever.
So that's what happened with them, and a little level is a whole lump. So once you continue to say, oh, I'm not doing nothing, and I'm just riding, I'm listening to the gospel and all of that. Before you know it, you didn't get sidetracked. So you just want to be mindful of that, because, hey, he would say, hey, don't even go out. And even if you read Nehemiah, he was like, hey, close the gate. If you closing the gate, you ain't going where what you doing. So yeah, you want to be mindful. You don't want to get too overzealous with it, but hey, you want to make sure whatever you're doing is dedicated towards God. And if that ain't that, then that's that. Yeah, we can go read it. Yeah, we can read it. Let's go to it. Mm-hmm. We can probably start it at, now this is Israel. The Lord got him a chance to come back after during the time that Nebuchadnezzar had took over and take him to the Lord, and they tore everything down. So they let him come back here. So let's pick it up at our taxi, let him get in.
What, about 15?
Yeah.
15?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go, it's 14, I guess.
14.
Yeah. 13 and 14. Go ahead.
Remember me, O my God, concerning this, and wipe not out my good deeds that I have done for the house of my God and for the offices thereof. In those days saw I in Judah some treading wine presses on the Sabbath.
So that's what they was doing. They treading wine presses. They doing it on the Sabbath. Go ahead. And doing what?
And bringing in sheaves and lading asses as also wine, grapes, and figs, and all manner of birds.
So they you know, they bringing in wine, laying asses. You know, they could say, hey, I ain't doing nothing. I'm trying to get from A to B, right? They laid on asses. I'm just trying to get A to B, right? So that's what somebody can say as far as riding the bike. Oh, I ain't really doing it. I'm just trying to get from A to B. But he said, hey, in those days saw Judas' son treading the winepress on the Sabbath and bringing in sheaves and laden asses and also the wine, grapes, and figs, and all what?
And all manner of burdens, which they brought into Jerusalem on the Sabbath day. And I testified against them in the day wherein they sold victuals.
So you know that's wrong. They selling, but he wasn't talking about selling, but he was just talking about that. Go ahead.
There dwelt men of Tyre also therein, which brought fish and all manner of ware, and sold on the Sabbath unto the children of Judah and in Jerusalem.
Which we know was wrong, but go ahead.
Then I contended with the nobles of Judah and said unto them, what evil thing is that ye do and profane the Sabbath day?
So, see, and just like that, you can see, hey, that's just stuff that's constantly going on. You know, you going on, and trust me, this stuff they doing here, you know, with the bird and the wine, that's business as usual. They just conducting business as usual. That's why I say you got to be mindful. I even be mindful myself because Satan real crafty. You know, I got multiple people in my family, so we use the same bat. Sometimes you got to clean it out. I be mindful of that because you turn around, you walk, you look up, you ain't just washing the tub, you washing the walls. You know, so you just got you got to be mindful. Now I know you got to clean because if it's dirty, somebody just got out there, you got to get it, you got to clean it, and that's the burden too. But hey, you know, you don't want to get no dirty tub. But then you just got to be mindful because Satan will take you there. But go ahead.
Did not your fathers thus, and did not our God bring all this evil upon us and upon this city? Yet ye bring more wrath upon Israel by profaning the Sabbath.
So, you know, that's why I said you want to be careful, like, you know, doing the normal things you do. You want to be mindful that, hey, you're doing stuff outside of that. Because this is what happened. That's what they were doing the same thing they always doing. And he said, hey, this is what happened to us. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath, I commanded that the gates should be shut, and charged that they should not be opened till after the Sabbath. And some of my servants set I at the gates, that there should no burden be brought in on the Sabbath day. So the merchants and sellers of all kind of ware lodged without Jerusalem once or twice.
So they standing outside the gate. Go ahead.
Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If you do so again, I will lay hands on you.
So Nehemiah's like, I'm going to put my hands on you and you stay out here. Because that's how serious it is. You know, and the Lord, he only asked for 1 day out of 7. Mm-hmm. You know, we make it like it's such a burden thing, but it's really just 1 day. 1 day focus on the Lord. I'm pretty sure, you know, you can get by without that. But go ahead.
From that time forth came they no more on the Sabbath.
So he wasn't playing with them. He said, hey, don't come in here like that no more. So he wanted to make sure he won't have no issues with them on the Sabbath day. But I think that hopefully that answers the question on that.
I don't even make my bed on the Sabbath, man.
Right. Yeah, you don't. Right. I don't either. You know, exactly. Yeah, because it just
gets. It may lead to,
let me do this too. Yeah, exactly. Before you know it, Satan, how you doing other stuff. Let me pick this up. So you just have to be mindful of that.
Yeah.
You know, and that also, you know, why I always say, you know, because some things be like a gray area, I always say in my mind to make sure that it's different from any other day. So if that's something I'm accustomed to doing every other day, right, then I just stop it. Mm-hmm. You know, if I do it 6 days a week, then I know, I'm not doing it on this day.
Right.
You know, I look at it in that aspect, and that way, you know what I'm saying? Keep your mind focused on what are you doing. Like, okay, if I'm doing this all the time, then that, because it can be great. You know, sometimes some stuff is great, but if it's something you're always doing, then you want to make sure you break that.
You got a couple more on YouTube.
Okay, go ahead.
Jeremiah 4:3, what does it mean? Jeremiah 4:25, what does that mean?
Okay.
So Jeremiah 4 verses 3 and 25.
All right, let's go to that. No, Jeremiah 4 and 3 was the
Jeremiah
first one.
4 and verse 3, and then verse 25.
Pick it up at verse 1. Just read down to it.
If thou wilt return, O Israel, saith the Lord, return unto me.
So the Lord trying to get them to return unto him. Go ahead.
And if thou wilt put away thine abominations out of my sight, then shalt thou not remove. And thou shalt swear, the Lord liveth in truth and judgment and in righteousness. And the nations shall bless themselves in him, and in him shall they glory.
Go ahead.
For thus saith the Lord to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground and sow not among thorns.
Okay. So he's letting you know. He's like, go ahead, finish. Go and finish that.
Circumcise yourselves to the Lord, and take away the foreskins of your heart, ye men of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, lest my fury come forth like fire and burn that none can quench it because of the evil of your doings.
So he's letting them know that, let's go and read, let's go back to, so he said, verse 4 was the one he was talking about, right?
Verse 3.
Verse 3.
3 and 25.
He said, for thus saith the Lord to the men of Judah and Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground and sow them, and don't sow amongst thorns. I guess we can read the sower, but he's just, where it's not good ground, where it's going to produce. That's what the Lord is talking about. Let's go to, it's in a few places.
Matthew 13.
Yeah, it's Matthew 13, yeah. Yeah, I guess we can read that, Matthew 13. It's the parable of the sower. Pick it up at the end of that chapter too. I know.
I'm looking on Google. It says that fallow ground means unplowed ground.
Right. Because when you don't break it up and you don't put nothing down in the ground, you ain't producing nothing. And the Lord wants you to produce fruit. 13, and let me see. I guess you can start at the beginning of that 24, I think it is. Let me see. Yeah, I think so. No, go ahead and pick it up.
Let's pick it up.
Yeah, go back a little bit. Let me see.
Because he started the parable at the beginning of the chapter.
Yeah, I guess you can start right at 1, huh? Yeah, go ahead.
The same day went Jesus out of the house and sat by the seaside, and great multitudes were gathered together unto him, so that he went into a ship and sat. And the whole multitude stood on the shore. And he spake many things unto them in parables, saying, Behold, a sower went forth to sow.
So this is what he said, break up your fallow grounds. He's talking about being able to produce. But he's finna show you something. Sowers, go. But he's giving you this analogy. Go ahead.
And when he sowed some seeds, some fell by the wayside, and the fowls came and devoured them up. Some fell upon stony places, where they had not much earth, and forthwith they sprung up, because they had no deepness of earth. And when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered away. And some fell among thorns, and those thorns sprung up and choked them. But other fell unto good ground, and brought forth fruit, some 100-fold, some 60-fold, some 30-fold.
So he's showing them he's producing. He starts to say, break up your fallow down so you can produce. But go ahead and finish that.
Who hath ears to hear, let him hear.
So he's going to explain it because the disciples want to know, which is what we're trying to get to, what that Jeremiah 4 was. What was Jeremiah 4, wasn't it?
I think it was 3.
Jeremiah.
Yeah. Jeremiah 4. Yeah, Jeremiah 4 and 3, yep.
4 and 3. Go ahead.
Yep. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou unto them in parables? He answered and said unto them, Because it is given unto you to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven, but to them it is not given. For whosoever hath, to him shall be given, and he shall have more abundance. But whosoever have not, from him shall be taken away even that he have. Therefore I speak to them in parables, because they seeing see not, and hearing they hear not.
And that's Israel, because the question was, verse 4 and 3 was, For thus said the Lord, the men of Judah, Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground and don't sow among thorns. But go ahead.
Neither do they understand. And in them is fulfilled the prophecy of Isaiah, which saith, By hearing ye shall hear, and shall not understand, and seeing ye shall see, and shall not perceive.
Go ahead.
For this people's heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart, and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear and have not heard them.
Now you're going to break it down to them. Go ahead.
Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart.
So this is a song they talking about, and the fallow ground is for you producing. Let's go ahead.
This is he which receives seed by the wayside.
Go ahead.
But he that receives seed into the stony places, the same is he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but doeth for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended.
So you got to make sure, hey, when the word comes, you got to do it. That's why you say break up your fallow ground. But go ahead.
He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the...
Notice here, he received seed among the thorns, because that was the question, right? He said, verse Jeremiah 4:3 said, for thus said the Lord, to the men of Judah, Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground and sow not among thorns. So don't sow among thorns, but go ahead.
He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he becometh unfruitful.
See, that's what happens. You choke the word, and then it becomes unfruitful. So you sowing among thorns, which I'll read the question again. He said, for thus said the Lord to the men of Judah, Jerusalem, break up your fallow ground and sow not among thorns. So this is what happened when that. Read that again.
He also that receives seed among the thorns is
so
he that...
he received seed among the thorns, right? What happened?
Is he that heareth the word and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches.
So the stuff that's going on in this world you care more about. That's why he said break it up. Because you're sowing amongst thorns, right?
Yep.
And the world and the stuff that's going in this world, that's what happens. Go ahead.
It choked the word, and
Right.
he becometh unfruitful.
So it ain't producing. So that's why he say break up your ground. He's just using the analogy as you doing as a farmer. But he's just letting you know, hey, when you put something in the ground, you want it to produce. Lord give you that knowledge, he wants you to produce. So that's why then when you sow it around thorns, the thorns choke it. So that's what that's talking about. What was the next question on that one?
It was
Jeremiah what?
I think they wanted to go down to verse 25 in that same chapter, Jeremiah chapter 4. Let me double check, because I probably got a
4 and 25?
25, okay.
Go ahead.
My bad, bro.
We got to read up for that.
You
We
want
got to
me
read up for that. Yeah.
to start way back?
First, start at. Yeah.
22. Okay. For my people is foolish. They have not known me. They are sottish children, and they have none understanding. They are wise to do evil, but to do good they have no knowledge.
Go ahead.
I beheld the earth, and lo, it was without form and void, and the heavens, and they had no light. I beheld the mountains, and lo, they trembled, and all the hills moved lightly. I beheld, and lo, there was no man, and all the birds of the heavens were fled.
Keep going.
I beheld, and lo, the fruitful place was a wilderness, and all the cities thereof were broken down at the presence of the Lord, and by his fierce anger. For thus hath the Lord said, the whole land shall be desolate, yet will I not make a full end. For this shall the earth mourn, and the heavens above be black, because I have spoken it, I have purposed it, and will not repent, neither will I turn back from it.
Go ahead.
The whole city shall flee, for the noise of the horsemen and bowmen. They shall go into thickets and climb up upon the rocks. Every city shall be forsaken, and not a man dwell therein. And when thou art spoiled, what wilt thou do? Though thou clothest thyself with crimson, though thou deckest thee with ornaments of gold, though thou rentest thy face with painting, in vain shalt thou make thyself fair. Thy lovers will despise thee. They will seek thy life. For I have heard a voice as of a woman in travail, and the anguish as of her that bringeth forth her first child. The voice of the daughter of Zion, that bewaileth herself, that spreadeth her hands, saying, woe is me now, for my soul is weary because of murderers.
So this is Israel not doing what they're supposed to do. But that question right there, he said, behold, make sure it's 25 too. He said, behold, and lo, there was no man, and all birds of the heaven were fled.
Yeah, they said 25, yeah.
I think this is one thing, but I want to make sure I got this right. make sure this is the end, but I'm not totally sure. I'm not totally sure, but I think that's actually talking about the end. But let me hold up before we go there. Let's go to Isaiah. I think that's Isaiah 35. But I'll check on that and make sure I'm right with that. The wilderness, yeah, at the end. Because it's talking about vengeance of the Lord. So you can start at 1.
The wilderness and the solitary place shall be glad for them, and the desert shall rejoice and blossom as the rose.
Yeah, because this is when the Lord, when the place of safety right here. Go ahead.
It shall blossom abundantly and rejoice even with the joy and singing. The glory of Lebanon shall be given unto it, the excellency of Carmel and Sharon. They shall see the glory of the Lord and the excellency of our God. Strengthen ye the weak hands and confirm the feeble knees. Say to them that are of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be open, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame leap.
Try it again.
Then shall the eyes of the blind shall be open, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped. Then shall the lame man leap as an harp, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out and streams in the desert.
So I'm hoping that's the same place and the same time he's talking about there. But I'm gonna check and make sure, because this is during a solitary time in the wilderness, and they gonna eat. But I'm gonna double check on that and make sure. But I'm thinking that's tied in there with that. What's that, Jeremiah? What?
4 and 25.
40 and 25. 4 and 25. Right.
25.
Yeah, because the Lord doing destruction back at that time. But I'm going to check and make sure. But I think that's what that ties into. That's with that Isaiah 35. That was Jeremiah 4 and 25, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to ask about that. But I think that's what it tied into, that wilderness. What else is on there?
When approaching the end or beginning of the Sabbath, do we wait until it's completely dark or just when it's sundown?
Okay, you can go back to that Nehemiah 13. You got a question? Nehemiah 13. Nehemiah gonna tell you. He gonna tell you a little bit more before that, but we just go read it. I think you read it already. I do believe. Yeah, you can read over it. Right. Let me see. That's read 19, 13 and 19. Go ahead.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath.
He said what? It's ready to be dark. What?
I commanded.
No. Read that again.
19.
Yeah, read that again.
And it came to pass that when the gates of Jerusalem began to be dark before the Sabbath.
He said when?
When it began to be dark,
What?
before the
So it ain't
Sabbath,
the Sabbath yet, right? So what did he do?
I commanded that the gates should be shut and charged that they should not be open till after the Sabbath.
Okay, so when he closed it?
And some of my
Okay, now that's good.
Oh.
So he closed it when? As soon as it started getting dark, he closed it. And was it the Sabbath yet? He said before, right? So before he just shut it down. He closed the gate. Right, so he said as soon as it started getting dark, he closed the gate. And he said it wasn't the Sabbath yet. Exactly, he closed the gate. So he winded down right when he saw it getting dark. He said, all right, it's over with. Close the door. It ain't Sabbath yet, but close the gate. So there it is right there. What was that next one?
Okay. What is wrong with getting vaccines? Nobody should do their. Hold on. Let me make sure this. I want to make sure I got the whole question. Nobody should do their own pleasure.
You got a question? Who got a mic? Because we're gonna give him a
What is wrong? What is wrong with getting vaccines?
Well, it depends on what's in the vaccine. I mean, that ain't in the book, but if it's unclean, that's the problem. You know, that's just that within itself. You got that mic on you? Okay.
I'm gonna check Facebook too.
Yeah.
But that wasn't nothing on there though.
Yeah. Well, it's just whatever is unclean, I wouldn't deal with it. So, trust me, those vaccines, a lot of that stuff is unclean. But as far as in the scripture reading about a vaccine, you ain't gonna have nothing in there on that. Yeah, deal with that exactly. So let's get this question. You see anything? No. Let's get this question from him, and we gonna close it out after his question. He got a question here. Just come on up here so I can hear you, because I don't know what other mics are at. Yeah, I don't know what happened to mics. Yeah, I don't know. We had like 2 extra mics. Go ahead. Okay. Okay. Yeah. They got to be able to keep the commandments of God. It say, blessed are they who keep the commandments of God. But what he wanted, I think what he was reading was.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think what he was reading is in Revelations.
Yeah, I was reading.
But those are the ones who keep the commandment of God. That's what that is. There ain't nothing more.
Do you specifically have to be a virgin? Let me try to find out where I read it.
It was in Revelations. You was reading in Revelations. Let me see. Is it 14? Yeah.
No, not into the kingdom, but it was someone was showing me. At Revelation 14:4, it says about the 144,000. That's what I'm asking about. So I'm gonna start from verse 3. And they sung as it were a new song before the throne, and before the 4 beasts, and before the elders, and no man could learn that song, but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goes. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto God and to the Lamb.
Yeah, so that's telling you 140,000. Yeah, men. They're right, and they was righteous. They follow the commandments of God. But as the bottom line is. Yeah, because it's in 14 and it's one in 7, I think, too. It's in 7, Revelation 7 and 14. They saying they the same. But this is ultimately what it is. let's go to, let's go to Revelation 22 and just read it. Let's read verse 12.
22.
Because this is the ultimate how you going to get in. 22 and 12.
And behold, I come quickly, and my reward is with me, to give every man according as his work shall be. I am Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the end, the first and the last.
And because they walk with Jesus. Notice they walk with Jesus. Go ahead.
Blessed are they that do his commandments.
So those are the ones who's getting in, point blank. So obviously they walking with Jesus. They was doing that. Go ahead.
That they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city.
So that's it in a nutshell. You know, if you get talking about salvation and getting in, hey, those are the ones who walk with the Lord and they kept the commandments of God. So that's what that is.
So what's the purpose of having the 144,000? What are they for?
Let's go ahead and read. Revelation 7. Mm-hmm. And Revelation 7 and pick it up at verse 4.
And sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, he got it. Yeah, go ahead. He got it. Go ahead.
And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and they were sealed 144,000.
That's what we're talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Go ahead.
Of all the tribes of the children of Israel. Of the tribe of Judah was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad was sealed 12,000. Keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Of the tribe of Asher was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Nephilim was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh was sealed 12,000.
And we know these are the ones who kept the commandments. So that's what this 144,000 is. You see who it is, right? Go ahead.
Of the tribe of Simeon were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi was sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Issachar was sealed 12,000.
You can skip down to verse 9. And this is everybody else. Go ahead.
After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands, and cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. And all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne of their faces and worship God.
So you see what that is. Now let's go back to, let's see who that is. Now go back to 14.
Chapter 14?
Yep, Revelation 14. And pick up at verse 1.
And I looked, and lo, a lamb stood on the Mount Zion, and with him 144,000.
So we know who they are. Go ahead.
Having his father's name written in their foreheads. And I heard a voice from heaven, as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of a great thunder. And I heard the voice of harpers harping with their harps. And they sung, as it were, a new song before the throne and before the four beasts and the elders. And no man can learn that song but the 144,000 which were redeemed from the earth. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. They are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the firstfruits unto God and to the Lamb. Mm-hmm. And in their mouth was found no guile, for they are without fault before the throne of God. And I saw another angel fly in the midst of heaven, having the everlasting gospel to preach unto them that dwell on the earth, and to every nation and kindred and tongue and people, saying with a loud voice, Fear God and give glory to him, for the hour of his judgment is come, and worship him that made heaven and earth, and the sea and the fountains of waters.
So this is talking about the end. Go ahead.
And there followed another angel, saying, Babylon is fallen, the great city, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
So that's what it is. But you see who they are, though. This is all Israel. If you go back to 7, you can tie that into that, who they are. And they was redeemed from the earth. So hopefully that was clear up on who that 44,000 is. If not, let's go ahead and close out.
Basically the 12 tribes of Israel.
Israel, exactly.
All right, and so I heard a couple of brothers mention like the 24-month thing. You know what that's about?
No, I'm not familiar with that.
He right outside. He in a wheelchair. I heard them mention the
Okay, well, you can ask him on that one. I don't know about that. Okay, let's go ahead and close out.
Thanks.
No, okay, no problem. I appreciate you asking the question.
Appreciate y'all.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Our Father which art in heaven,
Our Father which art in heaven,
hallowed be thy name.
hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come,
Thy kingdom come,
thy will be done,
thy will be done,
in earth
in earth
as it is in heaven.
as it is in heaven.
Give us this day
Give us this day
our daily bread,
our daily bread,
and forgive us our
and
debts
forgive us our debts
as we forgive our debtors.
as we forgive our debtors.
And lead us not into temptation,
And lead us not into temptation,
but deliver us from evil.
but deliver us from evil.
For thine is the kingdom,
For thine is the kingdom,
and the power,
and the power,
and the glory,
and the glory,
forever.
forever.
In Jesus' holy name we pray.
In Jesus' holy name we pray.
Amen.
Amen. Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro. Oh, yeah. Praise God.
Much appreciated.
Oh, yeah. No doubt, man. Yes, sir. Good to see you. See you coming strong. I like that.